Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another live here this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And just because I'm in a new place, I want you guys to let me know if you can hear me, see me properly. Give me a thumbs up if, and I'll say hello to a few folks as usual. Andrea, how are you? Okay, I see a few thumbs up. Good. Rosalinda, Jen, Cape Breton, okay? And Brahim, how are you? Carrie, Nebraska. Happy Halloween. That's right. Nick, how are you? From our staff. Kevin, Francis Marie, good morning. Elaine, nice to have you on with us this morning. And Shelley, good morning. Sandy, Chilliwack, British Columbia. Bonjour, Lynn. Kathy. And Wendy from Markham. And Jeanette, good morning. How is you doing? And Jean, we appreciate you guys. Okay, lots of thumbs up. So you're just testing out. Never know with Wi-Fi here. Kevin and Wendy, another Wendy from London. Mike from Norland. Wanda, how are you? From Ridgeway. Shirley, Newfoundland. Jeanette, good morning to you. We appreciate you guys. Deb, Fran, Orangeville. Couple more here. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. And Carolyn, Mary, Nellie. Good morning to you guys. Marilyn from Indian River, Ontario. Diane, Thunder Bay. Jane from Tirana. Dorothy, good morning. And thanks for coming on. Len and Judy in Edmonton, Alberta. And Faye, good morning. Terrace, British Columbia. Werner, Leela, Yolande. I was waiting on you, Yolande. Jeanette, Kapuskasing, Dale. Good morning, guys. Sharon and Christine from Mississauga. Okay, let's get going. Debbie, good morning to you. Couple of things. New study on vitamin D, and then I'm going to talk about some antidepressants, a new study there. But let's just look at this. This is a couple of new studies on vitamin D. Guys, the sun, Viderma. We need it. I double down all the time. Double down all the time on the need of vitamin D. So if you're not getting the sun, you need vitamin D. Here's another reason why. Okay? This is looking at a molecule that holds your cells together. You know what it's called? I can't even remember this from school. E-cadherin. E-cadherin. Okay? You know me and my pronunciation. Who knows if I'm even close? But let me tell you how it's spelled. E, capital E, C-A-D-H-E-R-I-N. Cadherin. Okay? Why is that important? Holds your cells together. Vitamin D is essential. So is calcium for this. Okay? But if you don't have enough vitamin D and calcium, here's what happens. The cells go forth and multiply. They say it's a factor in cancer. E-cadherin. Interesting, isn't it? That without enough vitamin D and calcium, the cells become rampant teenagers. Okay? All over the place. Multiplying. Not good. Now, here's what they've shown in this study. Two studies, actually, put them together. You need 40 to 50, okay, in numbers. Your dehydroxy vitamin D needs to be between 40 and 50 ng/ml. Or in Canada, just here's what you do in Canadian numbers for vitamin D compared to USA numbers. Okay? So when I say 40 to 50 is when it stops the E-cadherin from multiplying. You don't want that. Okay? You need a certain number, and this is what the study is saying, certain number of vitamin D, and that's between 40 or 50. In Canada, it's 2.5 times. Okay? So when you're at 50, you're, around 125 in Canadian numbers. They're measured differently in Canada and between Canada and the USA, okay? A lot of blood work is the same. It's just sometimes they use different measurements and thus you have the difference. So they're saying if you can hit 40 to 50, 125, I like about 150 to 200. Excuse me. Then you get protection from this. Okay? And here's what they're saying on this study. They're saying that you want to get to these numbers because that will be protective against cancer. Vitamin D. It's interesting, they're not telling you about how much calcium, but let me tell you this. And you know me, how I always, oh, by the way, you like my new cup? Good for you coffee cup. Coming to a theater near you. Okay? Good for you coffee cup. Okay? Tony Jr. gave me a couple of mugs last night. Okay, now, isn't it interesting, the protection of cancer? You need calcium too. Now, guys, you know this, but I'm going to repeat it for you. You know this, okay? You don't take calcium as a supplement because it doesn't get to its intended place. It won't get there. It won't get there on its own. That's why you eat calcium. You eat it. Because when you eat calcium in eggs, meat, and cheese, okay, you get a lot of calcium in cheese. I was telling someone the other day, because they said, Doc, I don't get it about cheese because isn't cheese fattening? Isn't cheese no good for you? Isn't cheese? I said, no, man. You gotta listen to me. I said, you never ditch dairy, you switch dairy. That's a Martin Clinic saying. And I mean it. You don't ditch dairy, you switch it. And cheese has wonderful amount of calcium, so does butter. But God puts the delivery mechanism right in the food. You know what it is? You need calcium. Even to prevent cancer from cells going there. Cancer cells are sing Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. Okay? You don't want your cells to go their way. You want it to go the right way. You need calcium. But it's important to eat calcium and not take calcium as a supplement. Because it doesn't get there to the intended place, your bones, your cells, or whatever calcium without vitamin K2. I got to tell you something, guys. In school, okay, in the 1970s, you know what we knew about vitamin K2? Not much. It was always clotting. Okay, clotting. It was a clotting factor. Yeah, you need it. So your blood will clot. But they didn't know what it did. They knew about vitamin K, but they didn't know about vitamin K2. They really didn't know how it works. But you know how it works? It takes one of its primary purposes is to take calcium and deliver it. Take it out of your bloodstream. Put it inside cells where it belongs to hold things together. Of course, we all know about what calcium does for your bones and your teeth, right? Everybody knows that. Oh, you need calcium. Yeah, you need more than calcium though. But listen, that's what vitamin K2 does. But this study is talking about cancer prevention. Guys, we're into prevention around here. Vitamin D. Vitamin D. We all know about vitamin D, but T-cell activity and, you got little antennas, you're a solar panel. So this study is kind of fascinating. The glue that holds your cells together, it's like a glue, is E-cadherin. I didn't even remember that, to be honest with you. It was good going over it. And as long as the cells are glued together, it's good for you. Okay? It's good for you. So, guys, isn't that something? Okay? Isn't that something? Very, very interesting. So you want your blood level. I know, guys, it's not always easy to get your blood vitamin D levels. I wish I could, I had an ear of someone in the government or even in the College of Physicians and say, man, you got to start testing for vitamin D. The problem is with physicians, the problem with most governments, if you're on a government plan or whatever, they look at vitamin D strictly as a bone-building vitamin. And they don't understand the therapeutic values of vitamin D. Okay? They don't understand the therapeutic values of vitamin D in cancer. Guys, I talked to you about this through the virus. I was always talking about the immune system. The immune system. God gave you an immune system. Take care of it. Even in cancer, we know what it does for T cells, but now we learned that the glue that holds cells together, and if you don't have enough vitamin D, if you don't have enough calcium in your diet, guys, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Something as simple as that, as vitamin D. Okay? So you got the memo? Okay. I'm glad you got the memo. Okay? Okay. I don't know if I'm getting to antidepressants. I'm going to tell you about 2 more studies. Okay? Okay. 2 more. There was actually 3 studies on vitamin D. I'm just looking at my notes. Okay? 3 studies that I read on vitamin D over the weekend. Someone was negative on vitamin D the other day. You don't need it, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to take it as a supplement because someone said right on our site that said, well, you store vitamin D. That's true. You do store. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. You store it. But listen, vitamin D is more than just a vitamin. It's a hormone. Your body needs it. And, they always talk about vitamin D toxicity and that. I tell you, my friend, it's the opposite. People are going around, I estimate 80, 90%, and, listen, statistics will prove it. You need to optimize your vitamin D. Why? Cancer. Prevention. You don't want your cells to become renegades, do you? Of course you don't. Vitamin D is glue. It helps the glue things to keep them together so they don't become rampant and start spreading. Vitamin D. Okay? Vitamin D. Now, number 2. This is a study on preterm deliveries. Okay? Mama. Mama. I used to tell my pregnant patients, look, you need vitamin D. You need high DHA. You want your brain to be smart? You want your baby to be smart? You take DHA. But listen to this study. You want to cut down on preterm deliveries? You want that baby to go right full term? Well, vitamin D is a factor in that. Who knew? Vitamin D does everything, doesn't it? Who knew? But here's what this study said. Women that take 4,000 IUs during pregnancy. Okay, now that would make doctors flip out. 4,000 IUs. Folks, sit in the sun for 10 to 20 minutes. 20 minutes. With your arms and legs. You get 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. But this study was at 4,000 IUs of vitamin D. 4,000 IUs. And it decreased preterm deliveries by almost 100%. When they did the testing, and they test women that were taking 4,000 IUs during their pregnancy, it almost completely eliminated preterm deliveries. Why wouldn't you take that? Why wouldn't you take it? Vitamin D. Now, I can't tell people how much vitamin D to take when they're not my patients. I can't do it. But I'm just telling you what this research paper said. Okay? Now, this is interesting in terms of vitamin D and the elderly. My friend, let me say this. I'm a repeater. Let me repeat. You have elderly parents, our grandparents. Tell them that Dr. Martin said, okay? If you have seniors in your family, I'm one of them. Here's the memo. Now, I'm going to talk about two things, but I got to tell you about the study on vitamin D first and elderly. This is fascinating, and you probably will not hit the news, okay? Probably not hit mainstream. Vitamin D, the importance of vitamin D. Now, here's what it says. If elderly, remember, they have 4 times more difficulty. Okay, I wrote this in my new book. Another thing that's coming to a theater near you. Okay, I wrote this because of the studies. Okay, when you get older, your reception for vitamin D is down 4-fold. Okay? The elderly, we don't absorb like we used to. And there's 2 vitamins, you guys know this because I talk about it all the time. Seniors need 2 vitamins. For sure. Every senior needs these 2 vitamins, and they need to be supplementing these 2 vitamins. Vitamin D and B12. Okay? You know that. Vitamin D and B12. Why? They are consistently, listen, I did tens of thousands of testing on seniors. Tens of thousands over the years. Almost 100% were low in vitamin D and B12. That, my friend, is a national crisis for seniors. and vitamin D, here's what this study said. If they could get their blood to 50 to 70 mg/ml, American numbers, this would be, again, 50, but 125 to 70 would be, 170, 180 in Canadian numbers. I like that, like I said, 125 being the minimum. I like it 150, 200. That's where I like to see vitamin D. If you can get even higher, not 250, I love it. Okay? But again, the vast majority of seniors were low in vitamin D. Big time. And numbers nowhere near that. And unfortunately, they never get it tested. Like some women get it tested because doctors said, well, I'm concerned, you're postmenopausal. We'll check your, for osteoporosis, and then they'll sometimes order a vitamin D test. They're not thinking what this study is saying in elderly. If you can get that blood work to those numbers between 50 and 70, Canadian 125 and up, higher, okay? Let's say 150, we'll settle for 150 and up, okay? What happens? Here's 4 things that they saw in seniors that could get their number of dehydroxy 25, which is the name of the vitamin D test. It's a measurement of your serum vitamin D levels. Here's what they found. 4 things. Increase in muscle strength in elderly. Guys, never mind bones. When people fall, seniors, they fall. I know you want good bones, but you know what causes the fall in the first place, usually? A low level of strength in their muscles. They have muscle wasting. We call that in medicine sarcopenia. I look at seniors and they're sarcopenic. They don't have the muscle strength. You look at your parents or your grandparents and they lose their strength. That will create an imbalance. They lose their balance. They fall. They break a hip. They have trouble going upstairs. But guys, vitamin D, just supplementing with vitamin D. Listen, I'll say it, but I'm just delivering the message to you. I'm just delivering the message. Here's the message. Vitamin D helps with muscle. Who knew? I saw a commercial the other day. That's why I'm using that who knew, because one of the guys said, who knew on the commercial? I like that. Who knew? I knew. Vitamin D. And guys, I'm only adding it in because we're talking about seniors. I'm adding the B12. Vitamin D and B12 in a lot of ways go together. How do you get B12 in food? How do you get B12 in food? Steak. Sun steak and steel. Vitamin D helps with muscle strength. Increase muscle strength without even doing exercises. Now, you know me and vitamin E and exercise. Steel. Get strong, please. 2. When they got their blood numbers up to that, of their serum vitamin D, here's what it says. They had a decreased risk of Parkinson's. This is what this study showed in the elderly. Parkinson's is like out of control today. There's so much Parkinson's. Well, we live in a toxic soup. But vitamin D is so good for you. It helps. It protects. Okay? Increase of muscle strength, a decreased risk of Parkinson's. This is what the study is saying. 3, decrease in blood pressure. Blood pressure goes down with vitamin D. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Another win for vitamin D, for Viderma. You know, if I had my way, and anybody would listen to me in homes, I said, okay, it's a sunny day, we're going outside. You got it? We're going outside. And some of them are so disabled. Okay, well then you got to substitute. If you can't get outside and get the Viderma, then we're going to give you a supplement. I mean, guys, vitamin D, it's inexpensive. It decreases their blood pressure. Imagine. Number 4, it decreased the CRP, C-reactive protein. It decreased inflammation in the seniors. Given vitamin D, and if their blood work could get up to 50 to 70, between 125 and 200 Canadian. Guys, aim high. Aim high. You want to aim, you want to optimize it. These are what these studies are saying. Optimize your vitamin D. Isn't it incredible? You know, every man, woman, child should be on vitamin D when there's no sun to get out into. You folks that are living in Florida, ooh, I get a migraine. You're scared of the sun, the boogeyman. Oh, skin cancer. By the way, there was another study on the weekend that I read. I didn't even put it down here for this particular program, about melanoma. Melanoma, remember, there's 3 types of skin cancers. Okay? Basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, okay, and melanoma. Melanoma, by the way, this is well established, occurs in people, okay? Melanoma occurs in people who work indoors. You know, okay, who work indoors. And there's another factor, who have insulin resistance. That's melanoma, my friend. It's not the sun. It's the lack of sun. You don't want to get me going. Okay? Because I know that's, we get things that are ingrained in the psyche of people. And you try and change their minds, and it's a hard thing to get people. Fear drives. Isn't it incredible? The big pharmaceutical companies, you got to give them credit, right? I mean, when you marketing, they invented marketing 101. Cholesterol, bad. Cholesterol, bad. The sun, bad, says Johnson & Johnson. They're trying to sell you sunscreen. Cholesterol, bad. They're trying to get you on statin drugs. Ask your doctor if Lipitor is good for me. Ask your doctor. Why? It's in the psyche of people. You say a lie long enough, people buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. It's not easy to undo that. You guys know better. But most of the world, they don't know that. All I can think of, you know what doctors think of vitamin D? Never mind that it's good for your bones, but you know what their overarching principle is on vitamin D? It's toxic. You're taking 1,000 IUs. Toxic, toxic. That's what they learn in medical school. It's toxic. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. Therefore, you can die from too much vitamin D. Woo! And like I said, I can show you 150, 200, 300 studies. There's a lot of studies on vitamin D, you know. There's a lot of studies on vitamin D. If you care to look. If you cared to look. Isn't it incredible, guys? It's incredible. Okay, so between 50 and 70, American numbers, 125 minimum. I like a 150, 200. Increase muscle strength in the elderly. Decrease risk of Parkinson's, decrease blood pressure, and decrease inflammation. Well, inflammation, it ain't Houdini, but it's sure a big factor in any chronic disease. You're decreasing that. Oh, I wish I could spread this to the world. But I have my little platform. I'm thankful for it. And I'm thankful for my audience. You guys are unreal, okay? We love you so much for it. Okay, guys, we got a great week coming, okay? I promise to get to the studies on antidepressants, okay? Because I read it and I flagged it, but we'll do that. We'll do it this week. We'll touch it on it this week. We're going to talk about magnesium this week too, because I get a lot of questions about magnesium. I've got a new study on magnesium too that I want to bring to you. Okay, we got lots going on. Friday is what? Question and answer Friday. Didn't we have fun last Friday? Of course we did. Together. Okay? Guys, we love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.